They're speaking about the need to galvanize the use of technology and to bolster innovation. Let's head back to Buy Now, Sell Now and talk about the queries that have come in. In fact, we've got the first one that we're taking that has come from Poonam, and she's asking about a couple of counters, but I will take the question on Tata Power. I'll come to you, Kunal, on this one. Energy stocks in focus. Of course, power companies also in the recent past have been in focus. Would you say that this is a good level to buy Tata Power?
So, Alex, I think I've been indicating quite some time on the show, on the previous versions of the show, that Tata Power is a good buy around this 200 to 220 range. I think in the last 1 week or so, the stock has come twice or thrice within this band of 200 to 220. So I will still maintain that stance for someone who's has a longer term kind of a time frame. If he wants to buy Tata Power, it's good between a range of 200 to 220. Try and nibble into this range and try and make use of the volatility and corrections which the markets are indicating right now.
He just wants to know, how does ICICI Bank look for the longer term? What's your take on this one, Shahina? ICICI Bank, do you think it's good levels to purchase at?
I think so. Even current levels, there has been some correction. Valuations are, very attractive at current levels, and I would believe it is silently and quietly gaining market share. So it is a good bank to be invested in.
Okay, we've got a question coming in from Mr. RK, and this is Shahina on Birla Corp, and he says that he is bought in at a level of 1,330. He's asking whether to hold on to this one or not, and he's got a time frame for the long term. Should he continue holding?
Well, I think Birla Corp as of now is going through a phase of consolidation, but he should continue holding it. I believe it would be one of the stocks in the in the cement space, which would do decently well in the medium to longer term.
Okay, Shahina, this one is coming from Amy, and this is on a wider topic altogether on the market scenario, saying that, the way how we're seeing the commodities rally from here on, what exactly will happen to the markets or, to the scenario if the commodity prices stay perched at the levels that they are? Because you're seeing where crude is heading to $140, near $140 yesterday. You have nickel that saw about 90% rally in yesterday's trading session. Today also is up about 12%. All of these factors combined, how does it all go? How does it actually, as in which are the companies that will stand to lose on back of this, and which are the companies that will stand to gain? And, how should one view such a scenario?
See, unfortunately, it is, we are seeing a negative impact both on some of the agri-commodity space also, where the prices have gone up, as well as the metal space where the prices have gone up. So on the negative side, this is going to affect, and it is affecting some of the, big multinationals that we have always been, and I'm still positive long term on, there is no issue about it. But it will affect, let's say, wheat prices that have gone up substantially. It is going to affect, some of our multinational companies like HUL, ITC. So we still have to see the impact of this in the medium term numbers that will start coming out. So unless things stabilize, we are going to see some correction. Also, if you see some of the metal stocks that, I like some of the metal stocks because they will gain. But unfortunately, there are a lot of consuming industries for metals, like, for example, auto, which was just starting to come out, like, major, I would say, very bad phase, very bad period. They were just sort of coming out. And again, like, we are going to be hit by commodity prices as well as slowdowns in terms of getting their raw materials. Airlines, how are they going to manage with such high, fuel prices? And there is very little scope for them, I think, also to increase prices. There is some, but little, because the consumers, the economy is really not picked up the way we could have, and so things are not really trickled down to the final consumer to actually go in and start shopping or going and traveling extensively. So the passing on of those prices is also going to be difficult. So I think a lot of stocks which had started recovering and finding bottoms are again going to be on a stay away, keep away from these stocks for now.
Fair point. We've got a question coming in from, in fact, a couple of our viewers, Akshay from Bengaluru, and we've also got Mr. Ramdas Naik from Chennai. Both of them, Kunal, asking about Bajaj Finance and whether this is a good time to enter the stock. the financials names as a whole have gotten beaten down in the recent past. Would you suggest that one should get in at this point, or what should they wait for a little longer?
I think a better price would be to try and wait for these stocks to come back and the FI selling stops to a larger extent. That's where I believe we should see these stocks getting into stable territory. But then I think that could probably come at a price where the stocks may get into a rally mode for themselves. So the possibility that stocks like Bajaj Finance and Finserv or such other quality names, they may not stay at lower levels for quite a long time. So that makes the price levels very attractive. Now, when you look at the stock prices comparatively in the last 3 months, Bajaj Finance has corrected almost 2,000 points from 8,000 odd levels. The stock was, I think, 2 months or 3 months back. It's come back to 6,000 levels for itself. So purely in terms of price levels, it's very attractive. But as I said, that we are going through a zone where the large cap names are at the brunt of some strong or compulsive FII selling for themselves. So whether the selling continues over the near term, that could probably impact the stocks like Bajaj Finance, HDFC Bank, etc. over the near term. But longer term prospects are very attractive. So it depends on the time frame of each individual investor. If you are in from a longer term play, you should start nibbling at current levels.
Right. Hang in there, both of our experts, Kunal as well as Shahina. We'll just slip into a short break on this edition of Buy Now, Sell Now. And viewers, don't worry. When we come back, we will still take your queries, so don't go anywhere. Welcome back. As promised, we are back with the query segment, and let me quickly get on board. This next query that we've got is from Harsh Ranjan, and he is asking which stock should I accumulate at current market price from valuation point for the next 12 to 18 months? Is it HDFC Life or is it Berger Paints? Which one of these two you think so Harsh should accumulate, Shahina?
Well, I think it would be better to go with HDFC Life because Berger Paints is going to, look at it on the negative side. Both are decent long-term bets, but Berger Paints will be affected by higher raw material prices. And HDFC Life, we are seeing increased demand for insurance, so stick to HDFC Life for now.
The next one is actually quite interesting, Shahina. This one's for you. Aarti is asking whether she should sell her FMCG counters at a loss and enter commodity plays to take advantage of what's happening. But there are some that are arguing that the pop that some of these commodity names have already seen is accounting for the current scenario, and you've missed out on it if you haven't already ridden that wave. Would you suggest that she should hold on rather than making the switch right now?
See, it depends on which stock she has in FMCG, but if she has one of the very large multinationals, I still think it would make sense to partly switch. See, these FMCG stocks, at least the larger ones and some of the good quality ones, we can hold to for the next 15-20 years, and we've been holding for a long time, including me. But the fact is, if you want to still participate in the metal, which I think will give us a pop for the next 6 months, even despite the prices having moved up substantially. I still, for the next 6 months, if you want to put some bit of your portfolio, even now, you can do that. Some of the aluminium stocks, some of the steel stocks. I already said Tata Steel is there, Nalco is there. So you can use any dip that you're getting now to, invest, get in back for some time. In the metal stocks till the cycle changes. I think the cycle will last for another 1 year at least, because you have aluminium. Earlier we were saying $2,500 per ton is like very high for aluminium. Now we are talking of $3,500, $4,000. So they will benefit for some time.
Right. This next query is from Shanmuga Sundaram, and this is for you, Kunal. Reliance 50 shares, he's purchased at 2350 rupees per share. He wants to know, can he average for a 1 year holding period?
Well, I would suggest to wait. I think the support for Reliance Industries is around 2120 levels. Stock is almost 100 rupees above the support level as of now. But then we've seen that in the last few days, the correction, the large cap names have gotten a bit more aggravated. So I would suggest a wait. Let the stock test that 2120 mark in terms of support level. If it manages to bounce back from that level, that could be a good point where you can look to average. So no point in hurrying. Would suggest a wait. 2120 could be a good averaging opportunity for Reliance Industries.
Okay. Sudha's got India Bulls real estate at levels of 148. Shahina, she's wondering whether to hold, add or exit from this. She's got a long-term view on this.
Well, I'll just pass this question because I think there is a lot happening. So fundamentally in India Bulls real estate, so in terms of promoter issues, so I will just pass this question. I'm not too sure what one should do because valuation wise it looks attractive, but you never know where it will go.
Basis fundamental, Shahina does not want to give a view because she's not too certain about the fundamentals. But Kunal, I'll come to you on the technicals then. Would you have any advice that you can give our viewer?
See, I would suggest to switch. I think if you can book loss over year, it could be a better decision because the stock has given breakdown on multiple time frames. So purely on the charts, I think it doesn't make sense to hold on to the stock. Again, the news flow as well as adding to the pressure to the stock price. Now, if you want to stick to the sector, then I would suggest either Godrej Properties. Even that stock has corrected more than 30% in the last I think 5 to 6 months for itself. Much better quality stock, less prone to news flows, and I think has shown some good recovery in the last 12-15 months as well, or over the last 4 to 5 quarters from the pandemic lows. So if you're looking at to switch from once the same sector, then I would suggest Godrej Properties as a better bet, where there is a chance that you can recover your your loss as well, which you've incurred on deposit real estate. If you're looking out to switch to other sectors, I think purely from a momentum play, metals look very attractive. Tata Steel and Hindalco would be my two top bets from current zones.
This one is from Prateek. Kunal, this one is for you. Prateek is saying that he has the futures of Apollo Hospitals, which he's purchased at 4,825. He's saying he's now stuck with losses. What should he do?
I would suggest to wait. If you're looking at an immediate relief point, then I would suggest selling a 5,000 call option in case if you're looking at doing some adjustments so that you can get into a repair for your trade. But if you're holding on to it from a directional point of view, I would suggest a wait. The stock has shown some good pace of recovery over the last 1 to 2 weeks from 4,400 levels to almost 4,900 plus, which it had tested. So it's getting into a good uptrending mode for itself. I would suggest a wait. But if you're looking at it from a short-term repair, then selling a 5,000 call option just to hedge your your futures position could be a better trade.
The next question is coming in from Munis, and he's wishing everybody a happy Women's Day. Thank you so much. I am passing on your kind wishes to the team and to everybody tuning in. Munis is asking Shahina about Cadilla, and he's already bought at levels of 603, and he's asking what your view is on this particular counter. He's planning to hold for the long term.
Well, Cadila, in my view, is one of the weaker stocks in the pharma segment, not my top picks. So if I was to, I mean, if he's bought it, either he should switch, in my view, to maybe Dr. Reddy, which has corrected a lot, or even a Cipla, rather than continue holding Cadila Health.
This next one is coming in from Emil Money, and he wants to know whether he can buy, she wants to know whether she can buy Mastech at current market price or should wait for some more correction. What's your take, Kunal?
I think Mastech seems to be a good stock. The only concern again is liquidity because the stock seems to be just about seeing trading volumes in the range of some 30,000, 50,000 on an average. So liquidity is a bit dry. But if you're looking at it from the mid-cap IT names, then I think it's a good a point where you can start to nibble into these IT names. I would also suggest to look at formidable large cap names on the IT side, something like HCL Tech, Infosys, or even Tech Mahindra at current levels as well.
Arihant Superstructure is the name of the counter, not one that we speak about very often, Shahina. And Mr. Parsi from Bengaluru is asking about this particular counter. He's asking whether he can add at current levels, and he's worried about the results. Would you have anything to say about it?
I don't know about the results, I haven't tracked it, but the stock has corrected a lot in the last 1 year after its nice highs that it showed around, I think, close to 200. I think the short term is very bearish, both the short term and medium term, but there is something happening for the longer term because it is showing that it will sort of consolidate and we can see an up move from here. So if he's short term, I would just tell him to exit.
Wants to know what's your take on Bajaj Consumer, Shahina?
Bajaj Consumer, I think there again it's going to face some problems with the higher raw material cost, but I think Bajaj Consumer is a decent stock doing very well in the medium term, and I think for the long term one can continue holding for a long term investor. No point in switching as of now.
If I'm not mistaken, Shahina is positive on Nalco. But I'm coming to you, Kunal, on the charts. Jagdish is asking whether the current price is a good one to add to this counter. If so, what levels should he look at?
So I think yes, current levels could be a good level to enter the stock. From a short-term trading view, I would suggest that you can keep a stop loss closer to 114 mark for Nalco. And on the upside, I believe that potential is very high that the stock can make a fresh high for itself, or the recent high for itself, which is about that 133 mark. So the risk what is in your favor would suggest a buy 135 to be a potential target, and you can keep on revising the targets higher as in how the stock moves up. And on the downside, you can keep a stop loss closer to 114 mark.
Shaina, Rahil is asking what should he do with Colgate shares? He's not mentioned whether he is at what price he's already purchased it, or is he looking at buying Colgate. But in the shorter term and the longer term perspective, how does Colgate look to you?
Very bearish. Basically, it is one of those stocks that is going to face some slowdown in terms of consumption, which is seeing it in price, and it was always overpriced. So I think for some time it's going to, not to give you any returns. So if you're looking at short term, medium term, you should switch.
Okay, coming back to you, Shahina, on this next one as well. Larsen and Toubro Infotech. The counter is currently trading at just about 6,337. We've got a viewer, Manoj, who's bought for the long term, and by long term, he's talking about 5 to 10 years. He's bought at levels of 6,906. He's asking if he should exit now and re-enter later. What should his strategy be?
No, I would suggest he continues holding, because this is one of the few stocks even in the current market which is giving good bullish signals for the shorter term also. So I think he should avoid trading in this. Just hold on for the next maybe decade.
This one is from Vikash and wants a target and a stop loss for ONGC. Kunal, ONGC, one of those rare counters which is going to benefit from the rising crude oil prices. What sort of a target and stop loss should one keep in mind?
See, I think it's going to be tricky to trade ONGC at current levels, because the major part of the rally because of the crude oil spike seems to have happened for the stock price, and then it's a low beta name, so you'll have to be a bit more cautious with your position sizing over here. For levels, 175 was the previous breakout point for ONGC, so I would keep 175, or recommend to keep 175 as a stop loss for the trade, and on the upside, you can expect the stock to come back towards 195, 198 levels over the very near term.
Borosil Renewables, I'm coming to you on this one, Kunal. Trading at 574, it's up about 3% in trade today. We've got a query coming in from Professor Thomas George from, if I'm not mistaken, Ernakulam, and he's asking whether it can be bought at the current level.
Well, it looks attractive. It's a micro cap stock, if I'm not wrong. I think on the short-term charts, it's trying to build a base around this 540 mark. Last 3 weeks, the stock has taken support on closing basis of this 540 levels for itself. So you can keep a stop loss at 540 on a weekly closing basis, and the stock continues to trade above 540 mark. That could be a good comfort point where you can try and get into a repair process and start into a building up a decent rally for itself. So would suggest a buy.
All right, this one is from R. Sarvanan and wants to know whether it's good time to accumulate Adani Ports since it has reached a major support level. What's your take on this one, Kunal? Adani Ports, do you think that it's time to accumulate this one?
Well, it's going to be a bit tricky because Adani Ports generally is a stock which is very low beta. So even at the time when assuming the market starts to bottom out and get into a rally phase, it's possible that Adani Ports can underperform for the larger part of the period as well. So if you're okay with it, then I believe you can look to buy the stock. Yes, support wise, 650, 660 seems to be a good broader or a medium term support for Adani Ports.
All right, and with that, we come to the end of the rapid fire, or rather queries segment. Thank you so much, Kunal, as well as Shahina, for joining us on the show. And Shahina, thank you so much for sharing with us your life experiences. It was definitely inspiring. I'm sure all the women out there would go ahead and think about actually doing what you want to do, and I think that's the best step forward. But thank you so much, Kunal, as well as Shahina, for joining us on the show.